Hey there, baseball fans. Nathan Rohde and Shooter Hunt here, the latest episode of Coffee and Curveballs. Running through the recruiting classes, we're on to the Pac-12. We've done the Pac-12 North, going by the football division, so now we are on to the South, Shooter.
Yeah, love the Conference of Champions. South's done a great job. Historically, tons of national titles in the South. So let's hear what we got in 2020 coming to campus.
No doubt. So let's start off with the Wildcats of Arizona. Took a serious hit last year with their 2019 class in the draft. Looking like there's some draft risk again with the 2020 class, so we'll see how that plays out. But they got three guys in the top 100 right now. Chase Davis is an outfielder, projects as a corner guy, but can really hit. Swings it with the left-handed stick there. Going to get a lot of attention from scouts. Daniel Susac is one of the top catchers in the country. Would be the top catcher in the state if it weren't for Tyler Soderstrom. But Susac's pretty good himself. Can swing it. Can swing the bat pretty well, but it's a cannon behind the plate. Really good defender. So he's certainly going to get a lot of looks from scouts as well. And then Nick York is a shortstop. Really a gamer type. Kind of reminds me of that Nick Cantana or that cannon they had last year at Arizona. So kind of that same profile. And TJ Nichols is an electric arm. So these guys have a lot of upside that Arizona would like to have, but they're going to get some looks from scouts.
Yeah, definitely going to get those looks. I think Nick York is probably everybody's closet favorite player in the country who they think is going to blow up once he gets on campus, as long as he makes it there. But those first two, Chase Davis, Daniel Susac, big-time draft names, so the spring's going to play a large part in what happens with them. But a few guys further down, Jacob Berry, in-state, physical bat, from the state of Arizona, third baseman. He's going to have a chance to produce a lot of power numbers in the pack. But with Nate Yeskie moving from Oregon State to Arizona, it's going to really help the pitching staff there in Tucson. And some of the arms that I like to get to campus and make big jumps are guys like Ryan Kaiser, who's got big-time stuff, short, quick arm, down to a breaking ball. Riley Cooper, who scuffled a little bit in the summer when we saw him, but I love the way the arm works. Left-handed pitcher who can also spin it. And also Josh Swales, another right-handed pitcher. So those guys got with Coach Yeskie there in Tucson. It's really going to help this class.
Yeah, it certainly will. Looking at their in-state rival, the Sun Devils of Arizona State. Good-looking class here, certainly with some draft risk as usual for the Sun Devils. But you got Colton Keith coming out of Mississippi. He's moved around the country a little bit, so that's not as crazy of a move as you might think it is. But pretty good-looking shortstop. And then Ronan Kopp, left-handed pitcher, really projectable out of Arizona. A lot of upside for him. If things hit for him in the spring, Arizona State's really going to be sweating come June.
Oh, yeah, those two at the top are going to be tough to get. When you have a big-time left-handed pitcher who's going to probably run it up into the upper 90s throughout the spring, and one of the premier bats in the South right now who's kind of been all over and done well on the circuit, and Colton Keith, it's going to be tough to get those guys. But Ben Greenspan does a great job working coast to coast with these classes, really talented 19 group, parent with these guys. Rhodey, I know you're a huge fan of Jack Moss, who's the MVP of the area code games, can really handle that barrel.
Yeah, he really can. His big left-handed bat, he went off at area code games. He's going to grow into more power. Should be interesting to watch him in Colorado hitting at elevation. I'm sure if he actually gets pitches to hit, which he might at Cherry Creek. It's a pretty good program. This will be their other hitters in that lineup. He could drop a few bombs come springtime.
Oh, absolutely. And then Hunter Barnhart, that's a Pac-12 arm, and it's 90-94, big breaking ball. He's going to be able to get swings and misses, which is huge when you get into conference play. Hunter Haas just does everything right. It's like having a coach on the field. He's a captain on the infield. He's going to play any position on the dirt, give great at bats. He's a Team USA guy, not going to be scared. Joe Hauser, big-time athlete out of Wisconsin. I think his upside's huge for this class. Might take a little time to develop, getting against some better competition there in the Pac-12, but over time, I think he has a chance to be a star. Logan Paustian, catcher out of Oregon, was kind of a late ad, can really defend. Big fan of his. And then Michael Bruiser, another top 500 guy for us from in-state. Another quality class, pairing the Sun Devils with that 19 group, continuing to get this good run going.
Yeah, no doubt. So looking now at the Trojans of Southern California, looking to return to form of being contenders every year at the national level. They got one guy in the top 500 right now that they'll sweat out with the draft, and that's Carson Wells, the younger brother of Austin Wells, who is at Arizona. Carson is athletic, left-handed hitting outfielder, can really run. I'm a big fan of him. I just don't like Southern California's chances of getting him. He looked good at area code games. Pair the left-handed bat with the speed and the athleticism. I mean, what's not to like from a pro standpoint?
Yeah, it's definitely tough to get him. He looked like a pro guy out there on the field at area codes especially. But this new staff's going to come in with a lot of energy, getting some recruits. They've lost a couple big names from this class specifically. But in the classes coming behind, they'll continue to improve. I think Nate Cloud, kid from Washington, twitchy athlete, can play all over, but he's going to also run to some draft potential, being up in the Northwest with kind of a so-so year coming on the way. I think he'll get a ton of eyes on him, so it'll be tough to see him. Jaden Agassi from Nevada, coming back from injury. Really like what he had a couple years ago. The stuff is clearly there. Good frame. Another guy I think is going to have a draft implications, but there's even more in this class moving on. Emilio Morales, who I loved a few years ago, can really receive behind the plate. I think the upside's there on the mound, but being a catcher-pitcher, he's still developing his frame, so that's been tough. I think he has a strong chance of getting to campus, which the Trojans would be really pumped up about.
Yeah, they certainly would. So heading down the road to a local rival in UCLA. As we say every year, lots of draft risk with UCLA, but they're also one of those programs that you can call an exception. They get guys to campus that you don't necessarily expect to make it. We saw Garrett Cole about a decade ago. Recently, Garrett Mitchell showed up on campus, as well as Matt McClain. So it wouldn't surprise if one of these guys ends up on campus, but still, you're looking at 2 guys in the top 10 in the country, 5 in the top 100. Kyle Harrison, very projectable left-hander from NorCal. He looked electric this summer and looked like a guy that's a slam dunk to be a first-rounder. Tyler Soderstrom, really good defender behind the plate, but it's a plus bat with potential plus power from the left side. You're thinking that he's a first-rounder if things go well for him. But then I like Milan Tolentino. It's not big, sexy tools, but he's got some pedigree. Little known fact, he was actually the first pick of the Mexican League draft this year. So he's definitely a known commodity. I just love the way he plays the game. And then shooter, I know you're a big fan of Jake Vogel out of Huntington Beach.
Yeah, Jake Vogel can really run. Since we saw him at the Boris Classic a few years ago, tough kid. And he's continued to develop really well. I think he gets the campus, and the way Matt McClain's kind of built in that smaller frame, but he can handle the stick, not scared. Vogel's going to stick in center field for a good time there. Love him getting to campus. Harrison's kind of the middle guy where, hey, big spring, hey, he could jump into the top 10 picks with the way that profile works. Soderstrom, he's just not making it to campus. I don't see that happening with how high profile he is as a catcher. Tolentino, I think he does have a chance to get there. Although those SoCal shortstops, they always jump up there. Max Radzik, who we've loved forever, he's pitched huge games on the national scene. International scene, it doesn't matter. He can get swings and misses with the secondary stuff. Love him getting to campus, although, again, his track record is going to really make it easy for guys to walk into draft rooms and put him on the board. Even further, Rody, one of your favorite guys of the summer, breakout guy, Kyle Karros.
Yeah, son of Eric Karros, former big leaguer. Game just comes easy to him. He's got that big, projectable frame. He's not fast, but he's very smooth in the field. It comes easy. Nothing speeds up on him, and I think he can hit a little bit. He does have those long levers that can make it difficult at times, but given his pedigree, I do like the future for him. But then you got John Vaughns, who's got some athleticism and power. Dalen Reyes out of the heralded program of Notre Dame. Definitely some depth here that UCLA will benefit from if they lose some of those guys at the top.
Oh, absolutely. And John Vaughn's a huge guy to get out of Bosco there. I mean, he's going to play football at UCLA as well. He can pitch. He's got a powerful bat. They're going to find a spot for him on the field at some point. And Dalen Reyes, guy from Notre Dame, Rody, huge fan just because he plays the game the right way. You know what you're going to get coming out of that program. They're going to do it the right way, so you don't have to worry about a freshman being a freshman because he's more advanced than that. So quality class, especially if you can hold on to Kyle Harrison, that would be really nice.
It certainly would. So fingers crossed. But wrapping up the Pac-12 South here, we have the Utah Utes. Smaller class. They've got a lot of upperclassmen that are likely returning from that 2020 squad. I think there's only 5 guys, maybe 6 that are guaranteed to like graduate. The rest, it just comes down to the draft. But big upper class. So this is a smaller class. But you got Benjamin Kibb out of Washington, who was a league MVP as a junior. Multi-sport guy, won a state title in hoops, so got some athleticism there. Owen Mortensen is a catcher and right-hander, two-way guy from a high-level program at Bingham in Utah.
Okay.
Kai Roberts, also out of Utah. He's been starting since his freshman year as a career 370 hitter, so you think he can handle the bat a little bit. And then Noah Turley, a right-hander from Utah. So smaller class, but still a little bit of talent for the Utes.
Yeah, the Utes do a good job getting those multi-sport athletes and developing them on campus, but getting a pitching coach like Gary Henderson, who was actually the National Coach of the Year a couple years ago at Mississippi State, out there at Utah is going to help them, especially in recruiting the next few years. Really excited to see what they're able to do there.
Certainly so. So there's the Pac-12 South for you. For more information, as always, go to prepbaseballreport.com. We'll have a podcast out soon where we'll go into more depth about these classes. So listen in. Next week, we will have a Coffee and Curveballs episode on the Big 12, and then we'll wrap things up with the Power Majors shooter. So be on the lookout for that. But as always, for Shooter Hunt, I'm Nathan Rohde. This was Coffee and Curveballs. And until next time, we'll see you guys at the ballpark.